Hey everybody, welcome back to Byte Club, the monthly indie game club podcast. I'm your host, Jesse.
And I'm your other host, Nevin.
Nevin's very sick, so I'm going to be reading all the things, and definitely getting it all on my first try.
I'm sick. Jesse's taking the wheel.
This month, we're talking about Mobius Digital's Outer Wilds. If you haven't played it, it is a fantastic game, and we're very excited to talk about it. We've been waiting to talk about it for months.
I think...
Thank you for voting for it.
It only took us like 3 times of putting it in the poll for it to finally happen.
Yeah, eventually everyone else picked it. So, thanks. Shout outs to everyone on Patreon that voted for this month's game. As per usual, we will have spoilers in the second half of the podcast, but the first half will be all non-spoilers. We'll let you know when we're hopping into spoiler town, so you can avoid those if you haven't played the game yet, but you do want to know our thoughts on it in general. We do have a couple announcements, and by that I mean one announcement. Nevin, as we said at the start, is a little bit sick, so if you notice that he's being a little less talkative, or you just notice that he's sounding a little more sick than usual,
well,
that's
hey,
why.
pump the brakes there.
He lives in a perpetual state of sickness.
I do
but this
actually.
Is a slightly higher level of sick.
This is noticeable to me, kinds of sick.
He's constantly sick, as the kids would say, but this time he's sick.
I have a license to ill. Is that anything?
Ooh, that's good. I like that.
Good, great. I don't.
Anyways, let's get into talking about Mobius Digital's Outer Wilds.
Before we hop into talking about it, I want to give a quick little shout out to a thing that I love, which I think is what we decided we were calling this.
I think so, yeah.
Segment. I'm giving a shout out to my pal Viditya Voletti and the tabletop RPG game dev and game design work that he does. Check out his itch page for just a whole bunch of rad shit. I especially recommend checking out Space Between Stars. It's super good. It's vidityavoletti.itch.io, and I will put a link to that down in the below space.
All
so
right.
Outer Wilds.
Yeah, a video game.
Good video game.
A very good video game.
I got whiplash from the quality of Blasphemous to the quality of Outer Wilds.
Yeah, kind of insane. The jump between the two games in terms of both quality but also like innovation.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you that don't know, The Outer Wilds is an open world space exploration game about solving a mystery and listening to folk music as you coast through the inky void of a small doomed galaxy while you're stuck in a goddamn time loop. I didn't write that, by the way.
I wrote that. You can tell it's written from my voice.
It's got a goddamn in there, and I don't do those.
Goddamn time loop.
You get stuck in a goddamn time loop. It's Groundhog Day in space, but instead of trying to escape the time loop, you're trying to. Well, I guess you're trying to escape the time. I don't know. Whatever.
I don't really think that you're like. What I really like about this is that you kind of decide for yourself what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like the game doesn't tell you escape this time loop or follow the Nomai or anything like that.
Yeah.
It just puts these beads in the world and says, here you go.
Yeah, I think I would describe the game as what indie developers would do with the idea of Breath of the Wild, in that it gives you nothing, like, in terms of objectives, unless you, like, use the rumor system, but it's just chock full of content. As you're going around the world, you find all these things, and sometimes you run into things that you didn't even know were important, or really aren't important to anyone but you, right? They're not, like, crucial to the overall events of the game or anything like that. You just end up following something to see what happens. Yep. And that's really interesting. There's lots of really cool stuff like that. I really appreciated that approach to design of not giving the player a path, but giving them lots of stuff to find on their own path, which was really cool.
It was really nice. So I'm playing through this with Jam, and it is just really nice. It's so cozy. And it's really nice to have a game this cozy to just play and relax to. Like, there's definitely some stressful and terrifying moments in this game, but overall, it's very much, like, it's kind of chill,
Yeah.
And the lack of explicit direction, I think, is extremely important to that feeling. Because if they had said, go to this planet and find this MacGuffin in order to unlock the gates of Agatha Christie or whatever.
Right.
It would have been aimed instead of aimless, and probably would have changed the vibe a lot.
Right.
It would still be cozy, but it would be more like, okay, well, I've respawned, and now I know where I need to go, and it is here because the game is telling me. Instead of, okay, I respawned, I'm going to go to this cool thing that I saw because I want to. They're similar, but very different avenues of approach.
Yeah, definitely. And I found that while playing, I was reminded a lot of Subnautica. I don't know if you had the same sort of vibe there, but in Subnautica, you're kind of discovering how deep the rabbit hole goes as you keep playing, in terms of literally going deeper into the world, but also learning about the aliens and the conspiracy theories and what the company that you work for was doing and why they sent you there and all that sort of stuff. And you learn a lot about the world through just exploration, and things keep building on top of each other, and you keep wanting to find out what's going on as time goes on in crazier and crazier ways. And like in Subnautica in Outer Wilds, your approach to doing that becomes how willing are you to accept your fears and kind of fight past them. I know a lot of people end up playing Subnautica, myself included, and it's just an absolute nightmare fest.
Oh, it's fucking terrifying. I had to go back to Subnautica to get footage for a video, and I panicked the entire time.
I mean, it's terrifying, man. It's
like, a scary fucking game.
Yeah, and I found that while this game, I think, has the same degree of fear, I find space less scary than the depths of the ocean. But there is one section we'll get into a little later that gave me the same feeling, which is just bizarre. I guess I'm absolutely horrified of water, but being out in space where I could die at any moment, that is okay to me, apparently.
There were moments, I think, like, maybe this is the medicine talking, but there were moments when we would just be, like, coasting through space. Like, we didn't have enough time to go to a next planet, or we didn't really know what we wanted to do, so we were just kind of looking around and thinking, and like, especially when you've got the signal scope out and you can hear the instruments of the other space explorers, it's just so easy to feel so small.
Yeah.
And that feeling in the face of everything that you are in the face of in this game is powerful.
Yeah. No, I agree, yeah. I think there's like a certain degree of necessary compromise to make the space feel welcoming, but also feel like it has, that sense of scale.
It's not aggressive, it's uncaring.
Yeah.
For the most part. There's definitely an aggressive spot or two.
Yeah, definitely. A handful of them. I mean, I'd say while the game does a really good job of like presenting the distance between things, it's not to the same scale as like the universe. If the moons of worlds were as far away as they are for us, this would be a horror game. Like, there would be very long distances of not doing anything, and you would be horrified all the time.
It would be like trying to get anywhere in Elite Dangerous without hyperdrive.
Yeah, which is just the most time-consuming thing, and also it's kind of scary.
It's incredibly boring and terrifying, which is a weird mix.
Yeah. So they did a good job, I think, of creating a space that feels like it has a good distance to it, like the distance between Timberhearth and some of the other places. Your starting area, Timberhearth, it's kind of like, it's not impossible given the amount of time you have, but it feels really far, which is cool. It's, again, the game does a good job of creating scale both on the planets and off of them, which I appreciated.
Yeah, the planets are just big enough to house their, I want to say gimmick.
Yeah.
Their important details without being cramped.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. The game doesn't have a lot of fluff. Like, everything you can find is
important in some way.
Either to the narrative or to you. Which is great. Like, I think it's cool that there's 100 approaches to figuring out what's going on and eventually getting where you need to go to sort of beat the game, quote unquote, in whatever way you do that. But it also ultimately gives you just so much to do. Like, there's an entire branch of the sort of rumor system that the game has where it keeps track of the things that you found that the game considers important enough to keep track of. There's an entire branch of that I never even like explored deeply, and you could still beat the game without doing that. So there's like elements to the story that you can discover that are sort of optional, which I think is really cool. Like that's a good way of doing things, in my opinion, is giving the players whatever way they want to tell their own story by adventuring through the world instead of giving them one story that they can discover. You can never learn anything about, certain systems in the game and still finish it, which is really cool.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? We had like a discussion about Gone Home and how you can discover things in a variety of orders and how the order you discover things in that affects your perception of the narrative.
Yeah.
That's kind of the case here too. Once you have all the pieces together, there is a very strict, like, this is the way things happened. But as you're putting pieces together, it's a whole bunch of different, like, moments. And it shapes it differently.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I remember when I first tried to play this, I first gave this game a shot when it came out. And I played for like a couple hours. And it went onto the list of, I will play this one day. And I distinctly remember my first hours in that being almost completely different than my hours when I play for the podcast.
Right.
Yeah. Can we just say real quick just how fucking good the music is?
Man, I'm listening to it right now.
Me too. You said you were going to, and I was like, oh, I should do that too. And it
helps.
Good. It's very good.
Yeah, it's on the same level. I was saying before we recorded this, it's on the same level as Firewatch.
Yeah.
It's in terms of its usefulness for the game, but also how listen-toable it is outside of the game. Lots of games have really good music, but I find that it's in the moment that I like listening to it, where this, Firewatch, and I guess Kingdom Hearts all have music that I can like listen to outside of the game and just really appreciate them for what they are. It's really good musical pieces. And this game does a lot with this music that extends past just listening to good music. I mean, obviously that's part of it, but the music becomes part of the game. Like you were saying earlier, there's a whole system of finding other people who were astronauts on the sort of Timber-Hearth Outer Wilds exploration. That's sort of the thing that the game is named after. And there's lots of people that are floating around on different planets, and you can track them down using the music that they're playing. You have a signal scope that lets you find certain signals throughout the world, and there are a few of them that are just people playing instruments. So as you're floating through space, you can pull out your signal scope, and there's this sort of like harmonic attachment you have to people.
Yes.
Like, despite the distance between you, the music connects everyone. And like, that's really powerful.
Yeah.
That's a really cool thing.
I just got chills, and again, I'm sick, so who knows why. But there really is, like, it shows a strong, deep understanding of the power of not just music as an object, but music as a source and instigator of emotion.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you're flying through the fucking void at hundreds of miles an hour, I'll listen to a banjo, and it lines up with the harmonica, and it lines up with drums, and it reminds you to take a breath in a way that a lot of games don't do ever.
Yeah.
And it's strong, man. This game good.
Yeah. I mean, like what you're saying with the connection element, they even sort of go over that in the game. So like, the Outer Wilds Ventures, which is what the sort of astronaut thing is called on Timber-Hearth, it doesn't have any form of long-range intergalactic communication system. So if you read up on the logs of one of the characters, I think the one that's on the moon around Timber-Hearth?
Esker,
yeah. They're talking about how they are listening for certain people's signals, listening for their music. So for them, the music is sort of a way of telling everyone else that they're okay. It's not just a thing that they do. It's their signal that they're alive. And when that signal disappears, that's when they get afraid. It's like a reminder not only that their friends are gone, but that they're more alone than they were before that signal disappeared. And that is, man, it's deep.
Strong.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Like, that's such a good thing to do.
All this from just some music.
Yeah. Just a couple, just like a single instrument playing a single tone. And man, there's something we're going to talk about in spoilers, but like the way that they build on that element is just absolutely phenomenal. I can't believe what they do with that singular thing in the game. And by the end of the game, like I wasn't even thinking about that stuff anymore. Like those elements meant nothing to me. I was at the point where I was like discovering intergalactic systems and figuring out, you know, these really deep puzzles, and all that sort of stuff about the music sort of disappeared. And we're going to talk about something later, but it comes back in a really big way. So yeah, we'll get to that later, but
man, it's really good.
The music in the game is just, it's powerful, man. I don't know how they pulled it off the way that they did, but it is just genuinely phenomenal.
Fuck. This this game.
Yeah.
You know what's weird? It didn't really make me feel things the way I thought it would.
Right.
I mean, it definitely, as based on like what we just discussed, this game made me feel things, but it has such a wider range of emotion than I expected going in.
Right.
Because I did no reading up on this game. I knew one planet was supposed to be scary for some reason, but I couldn't remember which one. Because I remember when it came out, there were a whole bunch of people like, oh, this place is super fucking freaky. I didn't like it, but I had to do it.
Yeah.
And we kept flying around. I was like, is this a scary place? Because it's pretty scary to me. And there were like, I don't know, 5 or 6 different scary places. And a lot of it is the music. Yeah. Or lack of the music. And there's some key places that I want to point out when we get into spoilers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely had that element. It has like, Outer Wilds is so much.
It's
a good way of putting it. It's so much. It is so like much. It is the music, it is the visuals, it is the way that it tells its story without telling a story like in such an outright way. It's just like a collection of vignettes that are scattered across a universe, and you only ever get to see enough of them to figure it out. It's to figure out your little tiny itty bitty bit of it,
your little piece in it, if you even have one.
Like there are things you can look into that have no meaning to anything other than your own inquisitiveness. Like, what are you interested in finding out? And you can go and you can find it out. And despite the fact that the game is so limited by the amount of time you have per loop, which is like what, 20 real-time minutes?
It's 22 minutes.
Okay, 22 real-life minutes.
I have feelings about these minutes.
Right. We'll get into that a little bit later, but
yeah,
the time, like the amount of time you have is so small and yet is so much time. It gives you enough to do what you need to do, I think, with in terms of what it has to say, the game, like, the stories you can find and the characters you can stumble upon and everything. Like, it does so much with that and yet so little, and it gives you this space to like just get enough, just enough, You can't do everything in that time, but you can get enough, I think. When it comes to the story stuff anyways. There are things that, again, we're going to get into later, but I think that the way that they deliver that system, the use of that system, is interesting. It's an interesting choice. I will put it like that. It is one that I think the game, it was a bold choice. It was a bold choice.
Extremely bold choice. I have been conflicted about the time limit the entire playthrough.
Right. Can you touch on that sort of broadly?
Yeah. I think early on, it's extremely brick wall. Like,
right.
It's very much like, okay, I'm trying to get a handle on all this stuff and figure anything out, but you get just close enough to see something and then you have to start all over. There are parts where you just have to wait for a long period of time for something to happen because you really want this one specific thing, and that's just kind of annoying as somebody with limited time. But at the same time, as you explore, as you learn the mechanics, and as your rumor mill sort of fills out with leads, it becomes easier to know where you need to go. And as you reset multiple times, you kind of just get used to it. And it just becomes a natural part of the way things are. I think there's a message there with that, too. Like, on the same scale of the music. Like, oh God.
100%, man.
100%. It's
I don't want to get into too much because there's something.
There's a lot to talk about I think that this is a remarkably, like, ponderous and philosophical game.
Yeah.
This is not just a game that's like, here you go, explore. I mean, it is on the surface, but the more you dig into it, the more you realize that this game is saying something, and it's saying something, I mean, important.
Yeah. I mean, it's an exploration on the existentialism of space and who we are and what we are and,
it's some
the future,
big shit.
right? Like,
It's
I mean,
some big shit.
there's so much going on with the Nomai, the sort of alien race that existed before yours, and has existed for who knows how long. And
For goddamn ever.
yeah, and you kind of like, you learn so much about their approaches to the universe and everything. There's so much to learn about that. And I think that the game just like delivers in so many different ways on what we are and who we are and our place in the universe. And it says something really bold when you start on the smallest, sort of least interesting planet, right? Like, how much more, and arguably is it at the same time, Had
There's
you
a lot
started
there,
on a
you
different
know?
planet and came to Timberhearth, would you be like, this is boring? Probably not, right?
No,
But
absolutely not.
you started
It's so
there,
good.
and it becomes boring. And that's, man, like, what does that say about the city you grew up in, right? Where you lived for the first 20
yeah.
years of your life. That is so boring to you. I know so many people who live in my city, just like an hour or so out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and everyone thinks it's just the most boring city because there's nothing to do, but people flock here for different events. They live here now because it's the place you want to be. Everywhere feels more interesting. Grass is always greener on the other side, but I feel like this game kind of delivers it in a way that no other game has been able to do. Like, I've lived in Los Santos. I've lived in, in Valia, or what? No.
Somewhere.
Novigrad.
You've lived in places.
Valia is a thing from our D&D campaign that we do.
I thought I recognized it.
That's different. Although I have lived in
very
Valia
different.
too. But I've lived in Novigrad, but I can't say that I ever got bored of them in the same way that I got bored of Timberhearth, in a way that is like really weirdly good, Like, you get, like I was saying, you get bored of the place you were born in or that you've lived in your whole life, but it's hard to do that in a game.
There's always something cool to check out, right? They nailed it. I had not thought about it in that way at all, but like, that is such a very obvious and really strong like line of thought. You're 100% right on that. Like, I'm thinking about it, like, I've lived in the suburb of Dallas for too long, I would say. Too long. And I feel you. But like, I'm definitely bored of here for a number of reasons. There's nothing to do here, right?
Right.
All the hookah shops suck.
Right. But that's because you've been to the same place every day, Every day you wake up in the same place, and that's kind of what this game is.
You wake up, get in your spacesuit, go to work, and work is discovering the meaning of the universe, I guess.
So I think that this game is kind of like a power fantasy for millennials. in that you wake up in the same place every single day, but the game says that you can leave and like it's financially viable.
You wake up in the same place every day, and nothing is keeping you there.
Yep. Then you can leave.
You can do whatever you want. You can go
man.
wherever you want.
That's
vacation. Don't worry about it, buddy.
And you have no ties. Like, there are people that you know and you care about, but you know that after those 22 minutes, you get to come home. Man, like Gone Home, in that when you come home, they're not like it, but like sort of in contrast to it. Gone Home is a game about coming home and seeing that it's changed. Where Outer Wilds is a game about leaving home and knowing you can come back, and it'll always be the same.
Fuck. Yeah. Yeah, it is, huh?
Man. What a good fucking game, dude.
What a good game, dude!
Jesus.
Oh my god, I'm having feelings that I don't like it.
Big mood,
Ooh,
honestly.
Man. I also want to say, I've got two things I want to talk about. First, real quick, I love the use of pronouns in this game.
Yeah, everybody's they. It's great.
Everybody of your species is they, but the Nomai have genders.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. It's such a small, simple touch, but it's so big.
Mm-hmm.
And then I love the rumor system. Like,
Yeah.
a board in a game so open. When we have had games that are these big, massive open worlds with huge quest logs saying, go here and kill 15 boars and come back, to have a game that just tracks what you know and, like, draws lines between the facts of the universe is, like, I want more games that do something like this. They don't need to be a mystery. They don't need to be Groundhog Day. But to have a game that so loosely guides you by simply keeping track of your information is super rad.
Yeah, that's a system that I'd love to see more open world games use. Because while having a quest list, like, okay, a quest list feels like a chore.
It's your task.
I like chores.
It's your to-do.
Yeah, like, I like chores. I like quest lists. I love playing The Witcher 3 and having all the little check marks on my map. But I also love the idea that if I come back to a game 3 months later, if there's like an important narrative thing that happened 10 hours ago,
it will remind
I can
you.
remember how it connects to what's going on now.
Oh god, I hate, I've had to start so many games over from scratch just because, like, I go multiple months without playing and there's nothing to give me a narrative summary when I come back.
Yeah. You know, I think more games need to incorporate that kind of stuff. It's super fucking
I think
good.
more games need to be shorter in general so that doesn't happen.
That
But,
also
you know,
is true, but if we have systems in place that make it easier for people who have lives and are not 14, that would probably help a lot. So,
yes.
yeah, you know, gaming
100%.
demographic is what, like 16 to 28 or something now? Something like that?
Oh god, I'm almost out the demographic, Jesse.
Yeah, you're not a gamer anymore. Don't worry about it. You're free.
Thank god. I'm free.
Nevin is a free man. For you.
Nevin is a free, not gamer.
Damn. Put that on your license plate.
Not a gamer.
It's a good bumper sticker, too.
Oh, I might have to make this.
No, you gotta make one of those t-shirts that's like, I'm 29 years old, from Texas, and I'm
not a gamer, and I will fight
Not
you.
a gamer, and I will beat you if you say anything mean about my cousin. She's so cool, and she bought me this shirt. You need one of those.
I guess I have to open an Indie Bytes merch store now.
Yeah,
so
that has that shirt, so I can buy it.
That's all it is. I bet Jam would decide. I got.
Oh no.
Oh no! It's gonna happen, Jesse. Do you have anything else in the spoiler-free section or Reno that you want to talk about? Like, I feel like
the universe systems, like how the game does space is really good. You know what I mean in terms of like how does never mind.
Orbiting and the physics and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
the physics. Yes, without getting into it, it doesn't do the Super Mario Galaxy thing where everything has like its own mass that affects how you float around things. Like you can't do the big Super Mario jump and like rotate around a planet.
Well,
it does have elements of that. It does have elements of that.
You can slingshot. It's just not
you
very
can.
good.
It's just very hard to do, and it's weird. But ultimately, I think the way that it incorporates a lot of things that we will talk about in spoilers is really, really cool. That's all I want to say. I just think the game, on top of everything else that it does really well, it does the physics of space incredibly well, especially on systems that do not have a lot of processing power, like the Xbox and well, eventually PS4. Like they do not have very strong processors. So the things that they're pulling off sometimes are crazy. I think it's really cool. I don't know.
Yeah,
I loved it.
For sure. I like it. So, as per usual, sometimes we have some spoiler-free questions sent our way by listeners and patrons. First up is from the very good Tales of Tales, and they ask, do you eat the burned marshmallow or toss it?
Eat it every single
Hell
time.
yeah.
Don't be a
Hell
coward.
yeah.
Eat that
burn marshmallow, good marshmallow. It's not burned all the way through, you cowards.
Yeah. At the very least, take the skin off and eat the very, very creamy marshmallow insides.
Oh, no, dude. You peel the skin off, you eat the skin, and then you eat the
No, I'm saying at the very least.
Oh, at the very least, yeah.
If you're not about that skin, toss it away, I guess. But eat the skin.
I hope nobody takes this out of context.
Take the burnt flesh off and eat the creamy insides.
Do you go back for a second roast?
I roast it every time, baby. You already know what it is.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. We got into it about this on my on our trip to a cabin. Like, we got into it about roasted marshmallows. It was heated.
I mean, the perfect golden toast is the best way to enjoy a marshmallow.
It's pretty good.
But if you screw it up, it's still fantastic.
It's so I go for the burned, and I get that from my mother, and I blame her for everything.
Damn. Outer Wilds is about hating your mom.
Up next, from Cody, aka the Puking Goombas. Even playing the game for hours to get to the ending, I still had issues flying the ship. I don't know if it was a perspective or if I'm just a dumb babby. Did you guys have problems learning the ship and jetpack? And in parentheses, good tutorial level for flying in this game. IMO.
Yeah, I agree. On the flying tutorial thing, it was
I do not like the drone. I don't think that it gives you an accurate idea of how it works.
So I think the drone is kind of a joke. Like, I don't think it's there so you actually know how to fly and land. I think it's there so you just understand the controls. Like, if it were there to teach you how to actually land, there'd be like a camera with like a landing control camera that was separate from the drone, so you could use it to like learn how to do it.
Yeah, true.
Ultimately, I imagine it's a joke, you know, in terms of anything other than the controls. I think the gravity stuff with the jetpack was really cool. Like how
that area, yes.
Yeah, like the sort of mine shaft, that was really cool. All
really,
well
really
done.
cool.
So, okay, my first hour of the game, my first loop, I was trying to land on Timberhearth. I did not know how to land properly. I crash landed, but I crash landed like in an actually cool spot, and I ended up like learning something about one of the mining shafts on Timberhearth, which is really cool.
Oh yeah, there's some really cool shit going on over there.
Like 20 hours in, I was just landing like a king. I didn't even think about it. But there were times where I would like put autopilot on and try to go somewhere and like accidentally crash into the sun while I'm checking my phone. Like I just
100%. It happens so much. I've crashed into the sun many times.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was my fault. There's I don't actually like have many issues at all piloting. Like sometimes landing is a bit difficult because the planets are weird, but maybe it's because I played a fair amount of space sims. I don't know, but it made sense. And the weirdest part of it is the different gravities on planets. That's the thing that fucked me up most.
Yeah.
And then from Joe Rowe again, the music and world in the Outer Wilds was very comfy to me. When you weren't crashing your ship around or learning to fly, were you zoned out from the atmosphere, music, and overall tone of the game? I don't think I was zoned out. I think I was absorbed.
Which would be zoned out, I guess, sort of, in the same sort of way.
I guess.
Consumed by the everything going on at once. Yeah, me too, sort of. There was one moment where I was sort of just floating through space. I had run out of time to do anything important, and I wanted to wait out the next, 3 minutes. And I just kind of was sitting there, and the music that plays when the sun is getting ready to explode was playing. I was floating towards it. I don't know. It was just kind of serene. I was maybe 15 hours into the game. I didn't really know everything I needed to know. I kind of hit a brick wall, and I was just kind of lost in it. I don't know. It was weird. Like, it was just a moment of clarity, but also confusion. And in that moment, I needed a second of nothing. And that's what that was for me. And it was really cool. I liked that. Yeah, there were definitely a lot of moments like that.
It's extremely good. All right, now we're going to take a quick little break. And when we come back, we will be talking about spoilers.
Oh, that's my favorite lures. Hey there, welcome to the sort of ad break in the podcast. And if it wasn't for our Patreon supporters, we wouldn't be able to have these fantastic ad breaks that take place in the middle of the podcast. So shout outs to David Snotter, Mark B. Writing, Puking Goombas, Steve Z, and Storm Hughes. They make it possible for us to list their names in the middle of the podcast for everyone listening. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to join that list of names, as well as voting on future games that we'll cover on the Byte Club podcast and other fun little rewards, check out patreon.com/indiebytesyt. It's patreon.com/indiebytesyt.
Get yours today. Here we are. Look at this. It's the spoiler planet.
Yeah, we're
Nothing
here.
but cars with fins.
Yeah. Did you go to the eye?
I looked up.
Oh, you didn't get the real ending.
We did not have enough time to beat it.
What a freaking coward. Did you know you could beat the game in 12 minutes? Because you can do that.
I do know that, but Jesse, when you're playing a game with somebody else, you have to work around their schedule as well.
Wow. What if instead of having a wife, you didn't? No.
I would hate
Ever
that.
think about that? So,
would hate it.
So
I have seen the eye. I know like the true ending.
Have you watched like a whole thing of what happens after you go to the eye?
Yeah.
Oh man,
fuck.
it's really good.
Big,
like I love how they bring
good.
all the musicians back.
I had a feeling that's what you wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
with the
so that's
music
what I was
stuff,
sort of like
so
talking about briefly with
good.
the signal scope and how you kind of see everyone's music. Like at that point in the game, I had not really thought about any of that for a really long time. It had become background noise to me. I'd take my signal scope out and I would just kind of pass over Esker, or I'd pass over whoever the hell else. And I would just kind of be like, yeah, whatever. I remember when I saw that guy. That was cool. Now I'm looking for a distress signal, or I'm looking for a quantum fluctuation. Like, I'm not interested in that stuff anymore. But the fact that the game ends on you bringing all that music together and having it all play at once, and, you know, what that means in terms of, like, bringing the story back to the forefront and remembering that this whole journey was about finding those people. That's really all it ever was at the start, and it kind of expanded into something bigger. And the fact that that's what it ends on, like, that is so powerful. Like, what a good message, man. What a good just like way to end it thematically, especially given how I ended up playing and finding all the adventurers right away. Man, I don't know. I don't know how they did this, but they made easy goaty top 10 all time.
The more I think about it, the more it's like it's just fuck, Jesse. It's so good.
It is just fuck. I agree.
It's like this is kind of a goof, but also a little genuine. But like, it's kind of a Strand game, right?
Shut
it's
up.
It's a game that's literally about the connections between people and the power that our connections with people have.
I love that Hideo Kojima has created a new genre of games that all released at the same time as Death Stranding, or earlier than Death Stranding. Death Stranding retroactively created a genre that a bunch of games now exist in.
I mean, like,
I love it. No, I'm not giving you shit. I'm just saying it's
like,
funny. I love it.
No, I fully agree. That's why I said this is partly goof, but like, think about it. You know?
Yeah. I own the game and will play it eventually to understand what that necessarily means, but yeah.
It's a game about connecting people and babies, I guess.
Damn, dude. Then next month's game is going to be one of those. Welcome to spoilers.
Here we go. We're doing Death Stranding next month?
Shit. My favorite indie game, developed by Hitsune Miku.
It's true.
Yeah.
What I wanted to ask is the music that the Nomai play at the end. Have you heard it before then? Like, do you hear it when you meet Solanum?
I think so.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
that makes more sense then. I was just like thinking how fucking powerful it would be if they introduce that for the first time there. Like, even like here at the edge of it all, there's still something new for you to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved that, man. There's
So
always
good.
something interesting to find. And one of the things I was talking about, what like in that sort of same vein, there's that moment, I don't know if you ended up doing it, but that comet, did you go to the comet?
We did.
Okay. Did you get through everything in there?
I think so.
So I love how that doesn't matter. Like, doing that gives
At
you nothing.
all.
It doesn't give you anything
It doesn't matter
important,
at all.
But if you do it, you learn what the ghost matter is and why it's everywhere. And like, I love it. I love that is a thing, that it's just such a big revelation, and it's something that you come across so often, but it's also something that doesn't matter.
It doesn't
matter.
It
It doesn't. Roll credits.
Death Stranding.
Yeah. Oh, and it's
Did
it's
it
just
again.
really good. I love how they did that. It's fantastic. That's it.
Yeah. That's it. Let's talk about Scary Planets for a hot second.
Sure.
Because Giants Deep was my scariest.
Bro, that's what I was saying with the Subnautica comparison, man.
It's terrifying.
It's scary when you go deep, man. It's so scary.
When you like get to the, I guess, nucleus
Yeah. Core, I think, is the word you're looking for.
I don't know if it qualifies as a core.
It is the planet's core.
It is, I guess so. But it's electric. It's grease lightning. But, like, I know that nothing there could harm me.
Yeah.
But the music and the lighting and the being without your ship and the being alone.
Yeah.
Like, truly alone.
The nothingness that comes with that.
Spooky as fuck.
Yeah, man. It was bad. I didn't like it. I love how you sort of, like, the bits of information you get that let you get there. Really cool. Like, you have to go and find the one guy in the Dark Bramble. Yeah, Feldspar. And then
fuck the Dark Bramble.
Yeah, which is just like a nightmare. Man, in the later half of the game,
you had to go there quite a bit.
You didn't purposefully on your own go to the Eye, which requires you to go through the sort of scarier part of the Dark Bramble.
Yeah, I've gotten to the parts where you get to that. Like,
yeah,
I've gotten to the vessel. I've been to the vessel.
Oh, okay.
And I know what we need to do in order to get to the end. We just haven't done it because we're trying to take our time and like really digest everything.
Right.
But yeah, fuck the Dark Bramble.
Man, when you find those fucking anglerfish, the first time they showed up, I didn't know they were even in the Dark Bramble. I had not seen a single one until that point.
Like until the end there?
Until the end there. I hadn't seen a single one.
Oh,
like,
God.
I saw the skeletons and everything, and I was like, whoa, that's freaky. They must all be dead. Yeah, immediately. I didn't even know what I was doing. I saw one and I was like, what is that? I was like, is that another skeleton? That must be where Feldspar is. And then it started moving and I was like, what the fuck? And it just fucking came at me and swallowed my ass. I was like, what?
Yeah.
What? Bitch. Like, it was...
When the first time we went there, Jam was driving and she ended up having like 3 chasing her at once. And she would like launch the probe at them and it would bounce them away. So we thought that that's what you were supposed to do. Suffice to say, no.
Right.
That doesn't actually work. Big scary. Big scary. I think the Quantum Moon is kind of scary too. And the caves on the Ember Twin also scary.
Yeah, definitely,
You just get lost in there.
Yeah.
And they're constantly filling up. Hey, what's up? Y'all, I got claustrophobia.
It's
Fuck this.
And dookie. It's altogether ookie. Yeah.
That is correct.
Whew, it was exhausting, man. Yeah. There were parts of that game where I was like, fuck this. What the hell? Like,
yep. I love to. So I was talking about the timer. Really, like there were some things that we had to try to do, but the problem was it took damn near the whole cycle for like a door to open up. Kind of.
Right.
One of the towers of quantum knowledge. Like it has to fall through a black hole for you to get into it. And we were like, we want to do this, but we kept fucking it up. So we had to spend 18 minutes waiting. Like 3 or 4 times, and it was terrible. That's no good. We had to wait like that because we didn't know when exactly it fell through. We weren't sure if it was consistent or anything like that. So we would just go to Brittle Hollow and wait.
Yeah.
And that ain't good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, you're right. Like, to get to the sort of last-ish part of the game, the Ash Twin project, to get there, you have to just wait for Ash Twin to kind of like lose enough sand.
Yeah.
Which is aggravating.
It takes 7 minutes. You have to wait there for 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And like then you have to wait under the bridge.
Yeah. And then you have to wait for the sand to go overhead and then go on the thing and then you're there.
And if you fuck that up, you might as well just start over.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if you
fuck it up 3 times, you might as well start over.
Oh, well, I guess, yeah. Like yeah.
You have a little wiggle room, but it takes a little over half of the time.
Yeah,
so
it's exhausting. Like it is. There's parts of that for sure that I get as being really frustrating because it's just, it just takes forever.
But when you're not waiting, when you are engaging with the universe, the time limit is nothing. The time limit is great.
It's not enough time, really. But once you hit the sort of end game, not having a way to kill yourself immediately, other than walking out of the ship without the suit on in space, is really aggravating. Like, at points, like you can quit, and it'll reset, but you have to quit, wait for it to load, go to the home screen, wait for that to load, and then you're back in. And it's like, man, that's like an extra minute anyways. So like,
yeah, I typically would just fly around very fast on a planet's surface and run into something.
Yeah.
Which, like, that's like the one thing about this game that I feel is like opposite to the like the rest of the messaging in this game.
Yeah.
Like I'm so sure that it's not an intentional message because it's a bad one, but like the fact that sometimes the solution is to just fucking die is not good.
Yeah. Like at a point, yeah, it's kind of
There's
redundant
like
to keep
it's
flying
when
around. Like
you-
you can go to
when you-
planets and stuff and revisit things, but there's nothing new to see. Once you've seen everything, you've kind of like, or once you're just trying to beat the game because you're like, I emotionally am ready to finish this. You're kind of like almost shit canned for doing it because like there's only so much time and you have to waste it sometimes.
I get it. Like there's probably some messaging there about how like sometimes we make mistakes and have to deal with the aftermath of them. And the aftermath in this instance is waiting until the heat death of the universe. But I think that the fact that you are so easily able to end your life in a number of ways, like, makes it the... And maybe I'm reading too much into this, but it makes it the default go-to method, like, go-to solution when you fuck up. Like, well, I screwed this up, and I don't really have the time to do anything else. Guess I'll die.
Yeah.
It's not good. That's
It's
not good optics.
No. But I mean, at the same time, I think it doesn't really try to do anything
doesn't
with that
encourage
messaging.
that,
Like
right?
that's
Yeah,
not what it's
it's-
trying to make you do. It's, you know,
That's incidental.
like I said, I had reached a point where I finished the game. I'm still done it, obviously, as that's how completing things works. And I haven't like finished one of the branches in the rumor mill. I haven't finished most of that branch, honestly. Where I had to waste time, I could have been doing those things, but I didn't, you know? And that's on me, I guess, right? I should have probably spent my time doing more important things. Oh, fuck. This is my life, isn't it, huh?
Yep.
I sure do have things to do, and instead of doing other things while I wait for those things to happen, I just sit around waiting for the important thing to start.
Yeah, man, there's some shit in there about procrastination, I'm sure, and I don't want to dive into that at all.
Yeah, that makes me have bad thoughts. Thinking of how much time I wasted before this podcast. 2 hours probably just scrolling around on my phone doing nothing when I could have been playing a video game or watching a show. But, you know, the commitment terrified me more than the thought of just like
It's a weird
doing anything.
It's a weird thing. Do you I'm sure you get this, but like when you have something scheduled for a certain time of day, you kind of stop doing anything.
Yeah,
at
that
all,
executive
like
anxiety,
an hour
yeah.
before, right? Because it's like I don't want to get too involved with anything because I've got this other thing I need to be able to do, and that's kind of what like led to us waiting on Brittle Hollow for 17 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Life!
I have the same thing, man. Yeah, it's rough. Video games are art because they reflect life, and that is my take on the Outer Wilds. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you enjoyed that, be sure to listen to our new podcast, We're Sad and Millennials. Thanks for watching, and
Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching this audio medium.
thanks for watching this on YouTube or listening to this on Spotify or whatever else all around. I don't even know.
Did you have anything else?
No. I think our questions are good questions, so that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah. Nerf Guy asks, what was your favorite planet?
Oh, wait, there is one thing I
Liar.
want to talk about real quick.
Oh,
Hold on.
okay, fine.
Sorry. So, sorry, this is a good question. I want to answer it in a second, but there are multiple endings to the game. If you go to Ash Twin and you take out the core and kill yourself, that's an ending.
Yeah.
Or just like wait
We
for
got
the
that one.
sun to explode. If you go to, or well, it's not going to explode anymore. Whatever, if you just kill yourself. If you, go to the eye, that's an ending. But there's a third one. Or, well, at least there's a third one I'm aware of. There might be more. But when you go to Ember Twin and you go to that, like, high power facility and there's, like, that warp thing that you can mess around with?
Mhm.
If you shoot a probe and you time it, because they were saying the whole, like, teleportation thing, there's 1/1000th of a second where the thing exists in both positions. If you disable one of the two, like either the white hole or the black hole, if you disable one of those at exactly the right moment, you cause the probe to be duplicated, like physically duplicated within the space, and you break the space-time continuum, and the game ends.
No way.
Yes, and the
That's
credit song,
wild.
it's the same credit song that plays, but it's played on a kazoo.
That is so good.
It's really amazing. I thought
That
it
is
was really cool.
extremely good.
Yeah, I thought
Wow.
it was really funny.
That's
Um,
very good.
but yeah, that's the only other thing I wanted to mention. Nerf guy's question about favorite planet. I was a big fan of, I mean, kind of all of them, honestly. I think I
They're all really
liked,
good. I like Timber Hearth a lot.
yeah, I like Timberhearth a lot.
It's charming, and you're in no real danger.
I think my favorite one was the Sun Project thing.
The Sun Station?
Yeah, like the one that's just
Pretty
spinning
good.
around the sun really close.
Yeah.
And I think I liked it because when you get there and you're standing in the space where all the scientists are working so close to the sun as it's expanding in front of your face, you're met with this deep fear, I think, in a way that like Giants Deep never really gave me. Like it gave me a fear, but it was a fear of loneliness, where that one was a fear of like, I don't know, it's so hard to describe, but just standing there watching it expand, the sun, this, like,
Imminence.
yeah, imminence, yeah, something that like you can't avoid. Where with that one, it was like, I know I can get out of here, I just have to do it quickly enough. That one was like, I still know I can get out of here, but the people who were working on this never knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And some of them are dead on that ship. And just, it was so weirdly scary. It's like, it was like entering a burning building before it got caught on fire. And you knew it was going to catch on fire. Like,
Yeah.
really
There's
weird.
like, I think that goes back to like the sense of scale and like the existential nature of this game in general is like you are now standing face to face with something massive and destructive that you know is going to just completely annihilate everything you've ever known, and it's right there. You can feel its heat, you could touch it, and the people that are there, like you said, never knew what was going to happen, and they're dead.
Nevin, the sun is capitalism.
Oh, fuck! We did it!
Yeah, another Byte Club about capitalism. Yes!
Yeah! Woo!
We did it, boys. That's how we end the
We
year.
did it. Hell yeah.
Nothing says 2020 quite like capitalism in video games.
Whoop! Anyways, yeah, I get you. I really like the Sun Station. Man, Ash Twin is just fun.
Yeah,
I think Ash Twins are really fun.
yeah, I agree.
But I think Timber Hearth is my favorite.
Yeah.
Okay, next question from Jacob Geller. What was your favorite, oh, I get it, moment? Mine was finally figuring out how Dark Bramble worked.
That's a good one, for sure. I think mine was learning about the warp things. Like, well, so there was two. There was when I fell into the black hole on accident on Dark Bramble. It obviously was not trying to do that. You know, I talked to the guy here. What's the guy there sitting there? Or the person?
Do you mean on Brittle Hollow?
Yeah, Brittle Hollow. Sorry. Yeah, thank you.
I don't remember the guy's name.
Yeah, well, regardless. When I talked to him, he was like, or they, sorry, were like, don't go in the black hole. It's, you know, you are going to do a death if you fall in there or whatever, or it's scary. I accidentally fell in there, and then you get warped like to the edge of the galaxy. I was like, bro, this is crazy.
And then there's a station.
And then, yeah, you go on the station, and you're like, what the hell is this? You land in there, and then boom, it's like, yo, you can warp back to Brittle Hollow if you use this platform. And I was like, how does that, where do you go? And the whole time I was on Timberhearth, there's that one platform there. And I was like, what the hell is this? Like, does this, how do I activate this? What is this like a thing? Is this a puzzle? I was there for probably like a whole cycle trying to figure it out. And then I just left it alone because I was like, whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's like a narrative thing I haven't figured out yet. And then you just like, you step on the platform, it readies up, you see the world envelop on itself. And then you're just back on Brittle Hollow on that platform, and I was like, bro, like,
it's fucking game changing. It's ridiculous.
yeah. Oh, it was so cool.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Giant Steep.
Yeah?
Like, it's so cool.
Yeah?
And terrifying, but cool.
That was your favorite oh I get it moment?
Yeah, figuring out how to get in there.
Oh, yeah.
But I do also like quantum entanglement. That's just really fun.
So I did the branch that I didn't bother with in the rumor thing was the quantum moon. I got on the quantum moon, but I didn't go to the sixth location, and I guess I didn't do the entanglement. So what is that?
Basically, the idea is that if you are in contact with or inside of something that is quantum, you know how when you look away from something that's quantum and you look back and it's in a different spot?
Yeah.
If you are standing on or inside of a quantum thing and you stop looking at it, i.e. you shut off all sources of light, you will be transported with it.
Okay.
It's very cool. There's some cool stuff in the caves of the Ember Twin that kind of go into it. It's very, very cool.
Right. Neat.
Yup. Super neat.
Yeah, I like that shit. I like all the quantum stuff. I like the puzzle temple that you go through when you first learn about quantum mechanics.
Yeah!
And how you have to, take pictures of things, quantum imaging.
That was so cool.
Yeah, I really like that.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
So now I guess we're gonna head on over to the outro section.
I guess we are.
And we will see y'all there.
This month, I want to give a shout out to a podcast about the comic Saga. It is hosted by Noah and John of Make Stuff and Polyphonic. You can find it on Spotify, anything you probably use to listen to podcasts, you can find it on there. It is a really fun podcast that goes through each issue of Saga, the comic by Brian K. Vaughan, and breaks down what is so good about it in terms of its writing, its art, and everything else. It is a really good podcast, and if you're looking for something new to listen to when you can't listen to us, I recommend checking out Horns and Wings.
Thanks for joining us for this month's episode of Byte Club. January's game is Speed Dating for Ghosts, which I know absolutely nothing about, and I think I'm entirely ready for it.
Bro.
Looking at its page, it's like a visual novel, kind of. It's definitely a dating sim, maybe? Whatever it is, it's cute and I need it, so I'm very excited for that. If you'd like to vote for February's game, head on over to patreon.com/IndieBytesYT to learn more. The choices for February's games are Later Alligator, Valley, and Way of the Passive Fist.
I know nothing about any of those. So, whatever you pick, I'll be excited to play on the basis that I don't know anything. And I don't have that happen very often, so that's good.
They are all supposed to be at least good.
Right. Is Later Alligator is that the dating or the visual novel?
It's like a whole bunch of mini games, but you're trying to clear the name of a little kid alligator.
That sounds amazing.
It's super fucking cute.
I love Pajama Sam. That's not even the same thing. Whatever. Anyways, as always, we'll be taking your questions about next month's game and chatting about them here on the podcast. So keep an eye on the Indie Bytes Twitter for the post asking for your questions. You can find me on Twitter at Garasha.
Got it.
That is
me
how,
being
that
sick
is how
was
you
a
say
ploy.
It, folks. This whole time, shit, he got me.
It was a ploy.
So you can find me at Garasha. That's GUARASCIA. You can find a whole bunch of indie game related content on Twitter at IndieBytesYT, on YouTube as IndieBytes, and at indie-bytes.com. This episode's music is from the Outer Wilds soundtrack by Andrew Pralo, and you can find it on Spotify, Amazon, and a bunch of other places. Thanks again for listening. We're looking forward to getting your questions, and we'll see you next month.
We'll see you next year and next decade, too. Hey!
Fucking dad jokes.
It's me.
It's actually really funny. I'm mad. I wish I said that.